section 13.2 on inflation. So inflation is a general increase in prices across the economy. Prices are generally going up. Purchasing power is the ability to purchase goods and services. As prices go up, the purchasing power of money declines. For example, that the book uses, Josephine and Jack have owned the same house for 50 years. They had a real estate agent estimate their home's present market value, and their house was worth 1,100% more than what they bought it for. They bought it for $12,000 and it's now worth almost $150,000. This is because of inflation. This seems like a good thing for them, but it also just means that their money isn't buying as much as it used to. So that's the purchasing power of your money. It's the ability to purchase goods and services. So your dollar is actually worth less than it was 50 years ago. Price indexes. This helps them calculate price levels. You learned this in chapter 12. It also helps businesses and customers and businesses make economic decisions. A price index is a measurement that shows how the average price of a standard group of goods changes over time. So this is, the price is generally always going up. Using price indexes, it helps consumers and business people make economic decisions. The government uses indexes in making policy decisions. For example, the government uses indexes by a member of Congress might push for an increase in minimum wage if she thinks inflation has reduced the purchasing power too much. So the minimum wage isn't buying as much as it used to because your dollar is worth less, so the government is going to make the minimum wage higher. The book also uses an example that if their purchasing power is going down, you're going to set more money aside for things because they're going to end up costing more because the prices are going up. The Consumer Price Index. The Consumer Price Index, the CPI, is computed each month by the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. The Consumer Price Index, measuring the price of a standard good or group of goods meant to represent the market basket of a typical urban consumer. The market basket is a representative collection of goods and services. It's divided into 8 categories and they're updated every 10 years. So some of the 8 categories, you don't need to know this for the quiz, but it's also good to know. So one of them is food and drinks. So this is an example of cereals, coffee, restaurant meals. There's housing, so rent, homeowners' costs, fuel and oil. Medical care, so prescriptions, eye care, any like physical therapy, stuff like that. Entertainment, newspaper, toys, musical instruments. Price indexes and the inflation rate. The inflation rate is the percentage rate of change in the price level over time. So Plummer is going to help you guys with this on your review. So there's going to be a section on it and he'll help you calculate all that stuff. But I don't have the review to help you with that right now, so Plummer will do it on the board. So the inflation rate, it needs to be good. It needs to stay between 1% and 3%. This doesn't cause a problem, but when it goes over 5%, it's hard for businesses to plan. People are going to get a lot scared and they aren't going to be investing as much money, and it's really unpredictable. There's different types of inflation. The types that we're going to go into is hyperinflation, which is the worst type. The inflation gets as high as 100 or 500% a month, so it keeps going up. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, that means that the economy is going to collapse, pretty much. Some causes of inflation. Prices can rise steeply when demand for goods and services exceed the supply available, such as during wartime or when production is restricted. So if there is a drought, per se, there isn't going to be as much food that the farmers are growing, so there isn't going to be as much for people to buy, but the supply is still going to be the same, or the demand is still going to be the same, but the supply is low. So this is the growth of money supply. If there's too much money in the economy, it causes inflation. So if there's too much money, then the value of your money is going to go down. To prevent this, you need to increase the supply of money at the same time, or at the same rate as the economy is growing. The changes in aggregate demand. The demand for goods and services exceeds existing supplies. So this is wartime. So during wartime, for example, the government needs for military supplies puts pressure on producers. The heavy demand for new equipment, supplies, and services increase the value of those items, pushing prices up. So the prices are going to go really, really far up, making it hard for anybody to buy that stuff. Changes in aggregate supply. Producers raise prices in order to meet increased cost. The main reason that they're having to, or the cost is increasing, is because wages are increasing, and that's one of the biggest costs that companies are going to have paying their workers. Also, you can get higher prices for raw materials, which is going to make the price go up as well. You can enter the wage price spiral, the process by which raising wages causes higher prices, and higher prices cause higher wages because they need to be able to buy stuff, but then the things that they're trying to buy are going to raise, so it's just a bad thing you don't want to get into. Effects of inflation. Your effects of purchasing power. If inflation raises 10% from one year to the next, $1 is now worth 90 cents. So your dollar is still a dollar, like you aren't going to get less money, but it's going to be worth less. It's not going to be able to buy as much as you were able to last year. Your effects on income. Wages can increase, but they have to increase as much as the inflation did. So to make it so you're coming out even, your wage has to increase. Your wage has to increase as much as the inflation did. So if it raises 10%, your wage needs to increase 10% to break even. Fixed income households are hit the hardest. This is incomes that from the government, like Social Security, and they aren't going to change based on interest. So like pension checks are the same amount each month no matter what the inflation is. There's also effects on interest rates. Savings account interest rates are subtracted by the inflation rates because some money is needed to keep up with the inflation. Recent trends in inflation. So in the past, obviously inflation was there. In 1990, the unemployment levels were low, which generally leads to high inflation. However, it was less than 3%, and some people just said that we were lucky, but that was good for us. In the 2000s, inflation fell less than 2% because of rising unemployment. Prices fell, and a period of deflation, which is a sustained drop in the price level, was predicted. In 2008, the inflation was over 4% because of high energy costs.